that's where I think is really starting to help me the most with the cultural diversity.
Beautiful, coach. Well said, coach. Well said. Coach, we have a number of aspiring student athletes in the United States of America. And what advice would you want to give them to get themselves prepared? Because as you said before, we play a direct and fast game here in the US, but also to what advice would you want to give one to the student aspiring student athletes, also to for coaches who are playing at maybe travel, playing at premier level, and these kids are aspiring to play collegiate soccer because, as you know, we are on the same trend on Twitter. And some of the comments we may see sometimes is that a kid, and it's heartbreaking, coach, that a kid will put up, I have been playing with this club or with this coach for 12 years. And now I'm ready to go to college. And there's no structure put in place for me to make that transition over. And now I'm searching to get information. What advice would you want to give one, the kid, the parent, and also to the coach to put that? Because it's a means to an end, coach. We have kids for so long, yes?
Um, I would say one of the biggest advices that I would give to the players is the opportunity will always be there. The question is, what are you doing to focus on the long game? We become so focused on, well, I just want to get to college soccer. Okay, but once you get there, are you, like you said, are you prepared to play at that level? Are you mentally prepared to maybe not start right away? Because one thing a lot of kids don't recognize throughout the entire US, roughly 7% of all high school soccer players play college ball through all five divisions: division one, two, three, NAIA, and junior college. So that's 7% of all the kids. And it's happened a little bit here in West Virginia with some of the kids that I've coached at club. Is they've been the superstar at their high school, they've been the superstar at their club, and then they go to college and they're competing for a bench spot. So remembering that the objective is to be successful at the college level and to always challenge yourself and be working. So the best thing I can say for players is focus on the end result. Don't give up on the end result. Don't give yourself the short success of, well, I made the college team, that's good enough. From the parent perspective, help your players in doing their due diligence when researching the schools. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a player recently, and we were talking about the difference between the Division I offers that she has and the Division II offers that she has. And what I explained was, look at the roster and look at the players that are in your position. How long are they going to be there for? That's a big thing, because if there's a team that's full of sophomores and juniors and you're going to be a freshman coming in, you could potentially be on the bench for 1 or 2 years before you get your chance. Or you would have to come in as a freshman and be a starter right away and make that difference. So make sure that you do your due diligence and your research of the school, of the program, and asking quality questions when meeting with the coaches and talking with them. That's a big thing on the recruitment trail is knowing what your role is going to be and what's expected of you and where you're going. And parents, you're the ones that are helping your children in setting themselves up for this opportunity, and you want them to be adults, you want them to do their own thing, but they're just as much learning the process as you are. So being open and keeping your mind open to the thoughts, but being very detail oriented in the information that you're requesting from the coaches. And then from the coaches standpoint, especially from the club level, one, you got to push the kids to get as many touches on the ball as possible. We spend way too much time on, um, from my perspective, on tactics at the high school level. But then when these kids get up to the college level, they can't play 1-2 touch soccer. So your tactics don't mean anything if you can't play with the speed of play. And speed of play doesn't necessarily mean your ability to run around people. Um, they always say the ball moves faster than the player. So Iniesta, Modric, Xavi, they were never the fastest people in the world, but world-class midfielders because they could just play quicker than everyone else and they thought quicker. Um, Another thing from a coaching standard to really help them do is talk to the kids about realistic expectations. There's nothing wrong with playing at the junior college level, at the NAI level, at Division 3, at Division 2. You don't just have to go D1 or bust. Go to the place that's the right fit for you for your schooling as well as your soccer. Um, you know, what happens if you get injured? What happens if you can't play anymore? Are you still at a school that you're going to enjoy? And for me as a player, I can tell you this: I tore my ankle my first year in the fifth or sixth week of the season. So middle of September, my ankle was gone and I couldn't have surgery until December. My entire freshman year of my college season, I didn't get to play, but I loved the institution I was at. I was surrounded by a great group of players, a great environment that helped grow me, a coach who held me accountable and made sure I was doing the things I needed to do. And I was able to continue on and be successful because it wasn't just about football. It was about the school. It was about me and being in the right environment.
Interesting, coach. I know you just pulled one away from me, but I'm still gonna dive in that area, the area of junior colleges.
Yeah.
There seems to have some sort of, for want of a better word, kids' appearance. Look at it as some sort of stigma, and it really isn't. It's really a building block to go forward and giving you the opportunity also to be able to play and build yourself up to go forward, because we tend to have this microwave sort of thing that when we get there, everything is going to be all right when we in a Division 1 team. And sometimes you reach in a Division 1 team, and for instance, they have 40 kids from all over the world in the United States, and you realize you're at a school that you're not playing. You're just
Yeah.
not playing.
I can tell you this. I I've experienced from a playing perspective and from a coaching perspective. I've experienced players that came in as a freshman from international programs and international teams and international, like for the national team, were in the player pool, who sat the bench for 3 years. And on their third year, a junior college player came in who had 2 years experience at junior college level and came in as a junior and then took the spot over the national team player. Um, and the reason why is sometimes for the development standard, junior college is better. Why? You get 2 years of playing at a competitive level. And if you went and looked through all the junior colleges in the whole purpose of junior college is experience, growth, and placement. So I have friends at the junior college level who are coaches, who are wonderful development coaches, who are wonderful at helping players get to where they need to be. Maybe academically, you don't have what you need to go straight into the program that you want to play to make the financial gain. You could go to a junior college for 2 years, get a really high GPA, and then after those 2 years, transfer to the original school you wanted to go to and get a better academic scholarship just from that and make your financial costs at a lower level just from there, rather than jumping in from day one and then maybe not getting that opportunity. If you have a conversation with your coach and they say, hey, look, you're going to be a development player for 2 or 3 years, but I'd love to have you on the team. But you talk to a junior college and they say, well, you'll develop for 2 or 3 years, but you'll be starting for those 2 years while you're here. You'll be playing against high level competition. Well, which one is better for you and your development? And I think you're right. That stigma of people looking at junior college as, well, I'm too good for junior college. Playing ball is playing ball. Like getting your degree is getting your degree, and you could actually get all of your necessary courses done for it. So when you go to your 4-year institution, you're set up just to do your last 2 years and step right into a team and make a difference, rather than having to, fight your way into a team and see if you're part of the plan. Maybe now after 2 years at a junior college, you're being recruited because you're the piece that's needed.
Which means you can get all the tools that you need to prepare yourself for playing at a higher level through the junior colleges and be able to develop and get yourself going. And coach, that is so really interesting because speaking to a lot of kids from different parts of the world, when you speak with them, and I think it's lack of information they're getting and doing their own research concerning to a number of these programs to really understand that we have a number of programs here in the D1 and D2 with 40 something kids you're talking about, and and it's only 11 can play on the field, right?
Yeah.
Only 11 can play on the field, and it's difficult for you to sit on that bench for a year or two. That's frustrating. When you could really get into a program that you could spend 2 years and develop yourself, that discipline and that order, and nothing is much better than playing games and having games under your belt at a good level. Would you agree with that, coach?
Without question. There are players that I've recruited in the past that were at a Division I institution in their first year, weren't getting their playing time, and they transferred to a junior college to finish out the rest of their freshman year and their sophomore year. They got the experience. They went and transferred into a new school year on their junior year, and they were successful right away. But when they went to the school the first time, it wasn't working out because they weren't playing well. Um, at the end of the day, you have to look at what's the best development for you and not getting caught up in the mindset of, well, I need to be here, I deserve to be here. You're going to get where you need to be based on what you're doing, and sometimes you have to take a different route. And I can tell you this, junior college isn't a bad route at all. I think it's easier to sell yourself saying I won a national championship at a junior college, starting for 2 years, leading goal scorer. I can tell you this, as someone who does recruiting, that might pique my ears a little bit more than someone who's a freshman trying to come in who's only played club at their level. Well, now I know someone, guess what? You've played against collegiate level players. You've played against people that are going to play at the D1, D2, D3 level. You've challenged yourself and trained with players that are older than you. Sometimes that's just a better route, especially if you don't have the exposure that you need to go where you want to go immediately. And I think that's a big thing. Also, financially, junior college tends to be a much better financial setup for people for the first 2 years, which then makes you have it could give you a great opportunity for your last 2 years at whatever 4-year institution you go to.
And I believe, coach, just to continue along that line, it really gives you the opportunity to better your grade point average, GPA, or not just your GPA, to set lean and have games under your belts, get into the collegiate level in terms of traveling out of town to play games and that kind of stuff, that college life that you have to live for the next 4 years or so. It gives you that at what I can say at a slower pace, where you can build yourself into it to go forward. And after you wet your feet for 2 years playing and getting that, now you can say, okay, I am ready.
Yeah.
I am ready.
I mean, at my previous institution, we had a couple of junior college players who came in, and the amount of training. So the other thing is to understand Division I, Division II, Division III, we all have different rules on the amount of hours that you can train in the regular season and the off season. And because of that, that also differs with junior college. So what you said right there is junior college will prepare you for what you're going to go into at our level for Division II. From my at my previous school, you know, there were junior college players that came in, and during our off season, they were like, "Coach, why are we training so much?" Because this is what's required. And it was because they hadn't been exposed to that level yet. Now I could only imagine what it would have been like if they came in as freshmen and didn't get to play at that junior college level, right? And those were American players who played in the club system that were playing 4 games on the weekend, training 2 or 3 days a week, playing a high school sport on top of that. Like, the intensity level at college is just different. And there's not much different now between the JUCO level all the way up to Division 1, because junior colleges are producing D1 level players. They're
Yes.
producing D2, D3, NAIA. You will play against the whole spectrum of players at the junior college level.
I think it's really doing yourself a disservice if you don't really you know, prepare yourself properly to get into collegiate soccer, and even as we mentioned, getting into junior college and really getting yourself organized so you can go forward, to really go forward and be the best that you can be. Because even playing at junior college, you have top collegiate coaches would be able to see you playing at junior colleges, you know, and they would be able to follow you, to get
Yeah.
that information of you as you go forward, and the sky's the limit versus just going into a system where you're not playing and you are frustrated.